Welcome to The Obvious Podcast, episode number 59. My name is Sonny.
And I'm Peter Daiga, President and CEO at the ABC Florida East Coast chapter.
If you enjoy the show, and we hope you do, check out all of the show notes. We are now on TikTok, so the Chinese are paying attention to what we're up to and getting some deep insights into, where we are in our office. So, but it's been great. Like TikTok is really sort of getting a lot of feedback, and people are commenting on the
So we're told.
episodes, and our Mr. Producer's telling us that it's gaining traction. And we just joined TikTok recently, so we figured if it's good enough for Trump, we can do it too.
Right. And as always, all our opinions expressed are our own.
Yep.
Unless we say otherwise, and you can reach out to us anytime at theobvious@abceastflorida.com.
Yes, and they're also correct. Our opinions.
Correct and obvious?
And obvious, that's right.
That's
So, happy Friday.
Happy Friday,
Here
Sonny.
we are. I wanted to talk to you about this incredible peace deal in Gaza. Something
Awesome.
many people said could not be done.
Yeah.
I'm sure our viewers are wondering what our thoughts are on the peace deal.
Sure.
So I figured let's get into
it.
that.
Let's do it. So, almost unanimously, the deal is receiving praise and accolades and whatnot.
The squad hasn't said anything about
Even
it.
the squad is silent.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is funny because, the left of center folks do usually preface the praise with some kind of qualification or, something. But so it's not, but at least, the point is, I think universally, people acknowledge that peace in the Middle East would be a great thing.
Yeah.
So now I myself have my own skepticisms. Right? I mean, I don't know that peace is possible with Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, they have made a calculation that they've needed to say yes and agree to this. But even, within the first 24 hours or whatever, they only released, I think, 4 of the 28 remains. Of some of their murder victims. They were supposed to release them all. They're executing people in the streets of Gaza.
Yeah.
Right now, as we record this show.
Yeah. Well, they're killing other Palestinians because they can't kill.
Right.
Israelis,
Right.
At least as of right now, they can't. So they're killing other Palestinians.
So anyway, I mean, I don't know where this is going to go, but it's progress. There's no doubt about that, and we should praise that. We should,
Yeah, absolutely.
and to have all the living hostages released, and to have most, if not all, the Arab world, behind a plan to remove Hamas from any kind of a power or future, and to rebuild Gaza, and all these things are all the plan is spectacular. Now it's executing's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I saw this somewhere listed or not listed. Somebody was saying it that, oh look, if you're successful in New York real estate, you can be successful in some of the hardest, diplomatic albatrosses in the world. And it made me think about, and that's a great point, and I wish I could remember who said it, but it was a great point that people like Steve Witkoff, who I know was mocked on the left for being a real estate guy. Why is he handling the Middle East for Trump? Trump's son-in-law, whose name I'm blanking on right now, Jared Kushner, played an integral role in this and was quite important in the Abraham Accords in the first term.
It's also Jewish, right?
Yeah, he's Jewish. Obviously, Witkoff, I think, is Jewish, as is a couple of other guys from the real estate portion of Trump's network.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was, the idea.
It's a great point.
It's a great point. Like the idea that you have all these professional diplomats, professional politicians. My mind went back to Obama and the Iran issue. How he was sending literally
Pallets of cash
to
didn't
Iran.
work. Yeah.
And now everybody's like, yep.
The real estate developer sent them pallets of bunker bombs.
So now literally experts are saying on TV that Trump and Israel have completely decapitated Iran.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about why. What's different is you've neutralized the nuclear threat. So a lot of the Arab world now, could get behind, a future without that nuclear threat over their heads. And on top of that, Hamas has been defunded because their primary funder was Iran. So in any event, but the left has kind of made a joke of it, ironically. I mean, I think there's a lot to the fact that real estate developers, but they make a joke. I mean, Trump has long said, and his supporters have long said, the art of the deal, right? This guy knows how to make a deal.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not just this one, by the way. There's like 7 other world conflicts, many of which have been going on for decades, that he's brought peace,
Yeah, there was something.
It's incredible.
The India-Pakistan thing never even took off because he kind of stepped in
Correct.
before it could even get out of hand. And I think it was Angola or something like that, or something in Southeast Asia that he fixed after like 34 years of fighting. And it's interesting that he just kind of goes, because he knows, and not that I have some sort of an inside track on any of this, but he has a ability to put pressure where he needs to put pressure, right? So he knows that the Gulf states are intricately involved in sort of the funding of a lot of these groups, especially in Gaza and the territory that the Palestinian Authority dominates. So you have that issue, and so he puts pressure on the Qataris and the Bahrainians, and he goes to the UAE, and he does really incredible work. There's a meme I saw yesterday that made me laugh. It has a picture of Obama on the phone, and he's like, "Let's negotiate," and then the next picture is the
terrorists saying, "No, we'll blow shit up.
We're gonna blow blank up," right? Biden, let's negotiate. Terrorist says we're going to blow blank up. Trump, we're going to blow blank up. And the terrorist is like, let's negotiate, And it made me laugh so hard, but it made me really think about how.
In all comedy and memes, there's an element of truth.
Right. But how much the left trusts, not just the left, I think we do it. We all do it. We trust credentialed experts, right?
Yes.
We just assume somebody's from the government, they know what they're talking about, or we just assume.
Well, clearly you haven't got the message. That the real person who deserves all the credit for this is, drum roll please, Biden.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently.
I've been on left-wing Twitter reading how they are just convinced this is Biden's plan, and Biden's getting no credit for it. But then
Biden's plan or the auto pen's plan?
Oh, the auto pen. But if it's Biden's plan, he didn't execute on it, right? Yeah. I mean, we say this at ABC all the time. Ideas are cheap. Ideas are the cheapest thing in the world. Anybody can have any idea they want. But if you can't execute on it, it's pointless, right? So, but it made my mind go back to 2008. I remember hearing in 2008 how the experts at Wall Street knew that these were good loans. They weren't never going to go belly up, that this was going to have no impact on the economy, that people would keep buying, AA and AAA bonds, and then this was the way to go. And then, of course, that whole world falls apart. And you're like, oh, the experts were wrong, right? Here comes COVID. Nope, we have it. I mean, there's videos of what's that little boy on MSNBC who's in the air once a week? Rachel Maddow.
Oh.
Right? She reminds me of a little boy with that haircut. My opinion, not fact. But she's on video saying, like she's pounding her head, or her pounding her hand, and she's like, if you get the vaccine, COVID dies. The virus does. You don't give the virus to somebody else.
Experts told us that,
right,
for a few years.
And
as it turns out, it doesn't actually prevent it at all.
No.
It's more about symptoms and trying to minimize symptoms. So
Yep.
they pretty much admitted that, I think, right? Haven't they?
I mean, now they say, if you get the vaccine, you won't die from it.
Anyway, there's a lot of examples.
Right.
The experts said 6 feet. Come to find out, and somebody pulled that out of their what, right? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, he admitted it in congressional testimony that he made it up. What was it? Fauci.
I think that's the thing they hate. Well, they hate a lot of things, but it's one of the things they hate about Trump, right? He's kind of puts this whole, you got to listen to the experts,
right?
Right. I don't know.
And the experts are wrong all the time.
They are all the time,
And the meaninglessness of credentials, right? Somebody's a doctor, you just are like, okay, then you know what you're talking about. And it turns out you don't. Yeah. But what really gets me, and this is off topic a little bit, but I paid a lot of attention during COVID to this guy named Marty Makary, doctor with Johns Hopkins. right? And there was another doctor named Jay Bhattacharya with Stanford, like talking about, hey, the data's off, the results don't show this, and they were, but Jay Bhattacharya was like kicked off of Twitter, banned from Twitter,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons I love Trump.
Many of us were.
Yeah.
Had our Facebook accounts.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Trump
Suspended.
turned around and gave them, like, I think Marty McCarty runs FDA now.
Right.
And but Jay Bhattacharya also has some.
And again, the credentials per se are not bad, but if if your credentials are being used as a prop for your missing it time after time after time,
Yeah.
then it's time to credentials should be no substitute for results or being accurate or
Yeah.
So
Well, what?
I think that's the point, and the experts have been wrong on the Middle East for
Oh yeah, long time.
a long time. So,
Well, I guess what irritates me
so
about
now you got the real to date.
But yeah. But what irritates me is the way they come after other experts who disagree with the orthodoxy, right? What they did to Makari and Jay Bhattacharya and all these other guys.
Sure.
And when it's Wall Street doing it, the contrarians can make money, right? People like Jeff Green. If you haven't seen the movie Too Big to Fail, definitely recommend it. A good recap of kind of what happened in 2008 in an entertaining way. But the whole notion that you just have to depend on the experts and they're the only ones who can solve the problem. And I love the fact that Trump has just completely turned that notion on its head, brought in people with no diplomatic experience, none of that. And he's like, okay, go solve these problems. And it looks like they're successfully solving them.
Yep, absolutely. So, somebody had mentioned it. I read the one supposedly top expert in the world when it comes to peace and brokering peace was the only organization missing
Oh, United Nations.
the United Nations.
That's right.
I mean, right? That's a whole slew of credentialed people whose job is supposedly peace. It had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
They weren't even asked, by the Arab nations or the United States or anybody else to be there because they played absolutely no role.
Well, they're also anti-Semites and complete lefties, and so many of them just walked out. I remember on watching Bibi Netanyahu's speech to the UN. So many of them just kind of walked out of that. But yeah, you're right. The UN had nothing to do with it, right? And this idea that somehow the UN sort of the great arbiter.
But we'll still keep holding them up as somehow credentialed experts.
Yeah.
In all this, in human rights.
Yep.
In peace.
There's a journalist.
I saw the immediate press release from them about these Hamas killing the Gazans. Did you see that press release?
No.
That's because it didn't happen. You're right? You think they'd be out today with this is
great.
awful. It's a violation of human rights. You should not be executing people in the streets in the middle of a peace deal.
Yeah.
No. So nothing. Crickets.
So what do you think is going to happen next? You think we're going to have resorts in Gaza?
So Gaza, remember back in the early days when
Gaza.
Gaza? Okay.
Yeah.
So and that's another thing the left just does not like. They really don't like truth.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is,
Or
but especially when it's more capitalism, but especially when it's brutal, blunt, honest truth, which is what Trump is, right? So Trump was signing the peace deal and he was talking about some of the richest nations in the world are part of this deal. And part of the deal is they've agreed to reinvest in Gaza and to rebuild it, And for a lot of people on the left, that's just crude speak, to talk about they got money. They got oil money or whatever, or and that the part of this commitment is for them to invest in that area. So I sure hope so, but again, the most promising thing to me is the unanimity in the Arab world that's behind this.
Yes. And how important that is.
Yeah. Very, very important.
So there's a Turkish Jewish journalist, and I'm not even going to try and say her last name, but her first name is Batya, Batya, I think that's how she says it. I've seen her on TV a bunch of times. I heard her on the radio today basically saying, look, this idea that Bush had that I could, George Bush, that I could take American values and shove democracy on this part of the world has failed. Like we've all accepted it, right?
Yeah, I struggle with that, but it seems very right.
And
you want to.
So she basically, her point was this idea of shared values, and to a certain degree, Obama pushed it, Biden pushed it. She said Trump has proven that shared values is nonsense. She didn't say the word nonsense, but I'm using the word nonsense. But really what Trump has proven, it's not shared values, it's value creation, right? When you kind of make it about the money and you make it about the transaction, and everybody harps on him like he's so transactional, like he doesn't care about the values.
Exactly right.
And he really, to a certain degree, doesn't care about the values because he knows people are motivated by value creation even more so than they are by values. And I thought that was an interesting point. And you could really argue that that's what's happened in this issue, right? With Gaza and with this bringing in all these countries, talking about investment. He's really made it, he's legitimized the desire to actually to build value.
Absolutely.
Right? Value creation.
Yep.
And that's what got all these people to agree. And I think that's such a great point.
It's a big part of the whole process was the future for the region. I think trying to hold them out as this region is going to have to compete with other regions of the world in a very competitive economy and one that's evolving. And I think that was a big part of his, right?
Yeah.
In getting them to realize they might have to partner with Israel and as a region to actually,
Yeah, because that's a huge trading partner for anybody, right? Now, the last thing, and we're running out of time, but the last thing I found really interesting, on Monday morning, I'm watching the news, and Air Force One has landed in Egypt, and he's about to have that little press conference. And it wasn't Fox News, I forget the reporter I was listening to. She makes the point. She said, imagine if you're China or Russia watching this. He literally has made them persona non grata. And this completely. And American...
and I was going to ask you, what do you make of the subdued, enthusiasm for all the protesters and the Free Palestine and part of it is that, I think. Part of it is, I think they realize that this strengthens this man.
Yeah, and America.
Right? And America. It strengthens us. And of course, we know what they
don't want us to be.
They don't really.
They hate America.
Right.
They also don't. They want America.
They certainly don't want a stronger one. So, but this just raises our influence and our strength in the world, and his, moving into, hopefully being able to solve the Russian-Ukrainian war, conversations with the dictator of China. All this puts him and us in a stronger position.
Yeah.
So good for the Middle East, for the future of peace and trade and prosperity and security and families being able to dream for a better tomorrow for their children, which is maybe the one universal value.
That's the one universal value. That's so true. Well, we hope you enjoyed this brief conversation.
So quick?
Yeah, we're out of time.
So
it flew by.
All right.
Right.
Well, I have a feeling there'll be a future podcast on this peace deal
or
on peace in the Middle East. So I don't know.
And then maybe we can do it one if he ever wins a Nobel.
I want to say one other thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
No, just say it. This is a safe zone.
I was so disappointed in my church this weekend. Really? In the Catholic Church, in the Mass, there's a part in the Mass it's called the Prayer of the Faithful, where we as a community offer up, our prayers for the world and for the community and whatnot. And we over the course of my lifetime, pray for the things you would expect any Christian church to pray for, including more recently this weekend, healthcare, which oftentimes things border on, political, because, part of the prayer, and I'm sure the pastor, obviously has a big hand in these prayers, where this weekend we prayed for, the elected officials and that they be compassionate and whatnot when it comes to making decisions on healthcare, availability for people, which, great, it's good enough as a Christian that I can, but I was like, the whole world was talking about the potential for peace, what looked like peace. The details weren't quite there yet, or it was still tenuous. And I was like, wouldn't it have been nice, right? Because we all as Christians should be praying for peace in the world, And it would have been nice to have heard a prayer for the success of this peace deal. But sometimes I think even that is too much when you have, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right? It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be too much.
It shouldn't be too much just because of who's going to get credit, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really care who's getting credit.
Yeah.
So, and I believe, by the way, the right, had Biden done this, they would have been overjoyed.
Great. Yeah.
And working towards the success of the proposal and the plan. So, anyway, sorry for that last minute interjection.
No, it's a great point.
It just, I get almost weekly emails now, and the reason I almost hesitated is because to criticize your family within the family is one thing, but when you go outside the family, perhaps criticizing your family is something you should just stay away from. So that's why I almost hesitated. But, I get almost weekly emails because right now the governor in Florida is executing quite a few folks on death row. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I have been watching that, yeah.
And, I get weekly emails from the bishops in Florida, asking us to send a letter or a call to the governor and ask him for clemency and whatnot. And I was just waiting for that email from him saying, pray for peace.
Never came?
Never came.
Wow.
And so it hurts me. It hurts me.
Do you think there's a reason why it never came?
I don't know. We're probably afraid. Like anybody else,
like too controversial.
Shouldn't be right. Shouldn't be afraid, right? That's not the
peace is not a controversial topic. Anyway. Which okay, you spent 2 years protesting in Colombia and every university campus for ceasefire and stopping the genocide and all that. Okay,
exactly.
Fine. Now it's stopped, and not a peep out of you?
Not a peep out of those people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point, I guess. I could have made this more general. Where are the universities? Where are the intellectuals? Where are the credentialed people?
Credentialed intellectuals.
And some of them are, again, on the periphery are claiming, but again, we missed the memo. It really was Biden's fault. Or it's always, there's some kind of qualifying praise. But, so anyway.
Yeah.
Let's pray for peace.
Let's pray
pray that it works because the world could use it. And by the way, if it was anybody else but Trump who has now solved or avoided 7 or 8 and hopefully 9, whoever the number is.
Pretty unusual for a fascist to do that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, and to have the Knesset, or the Israeli, so very weird for a fascist. So, but come on, we know that's look at one of our future podcasts very soon is going to kind of address the astroturf, of some of this,
Yeah.
It's fascist.
Perception is not reality, right?
All right, now we've really gone over. So anyway, great topic.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening and honoring us with your time. We look forward to sharing another episode with you next Friday. Ciao.
Take care.